Next morning, we're back on Highway 164 for 30 miles, then south on Ivanpah, Morningstar Mine, and Kelso Sema roads for another 30. From Kelso Junction, it's only about another 10 miles or so to the dunes, where we meet Ranger Sierra Willoughby.
This is the third largest national park unit outside of Alaska, so there's a lot to see here. So I'm glad you came down to see us.
I had no idea it was that big.
Me either.
Yeah, everything you see around here is still part of the preserve. All these mountains, this ring of mountains all around here. It's just vast.
And this is amazing.
Sure is.
It kept growing as we were driving. It kept getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah. So this is the Kelso Dunes. So it's a big dune field. It's one of the largest in North America, and the tallest part right there is about 600 feet above the valley floor that we're standing on here. The way it got here was over, thousands and thousands of years. The sediment has washed down from the really tall mountains above Los Angeles, like the San Bernardino Mountains. People probably know as Big Bear. That's the source area for the Mojave River that drains into this corner of the preserve. So it transported the sediment, but if it was just the right size for the wind to catch, over the last 25,000 years, it blew around, and this is where it tended to collect, because it's a nice corridor right here. There's a granite pass right there, so when the sand comes up, it can't make it quite up this hill right here, and it deposits.
So can we get a little closer? I'd love to see this.
Let's go take a look.
Check
Let's
it
go
out.
play in the sandbox. Do you have a favorite time of day that you like to visit the dunes?
Like early in the morning or late in the evening, especially in the warmer months. Come out here in the full moon.
Oh, wow.
So it's not just the daytime. This can be a really amazing night hike.
I bet it glows in the moonlight.
It does. It's one of the reasons that I came here from Grant's Tomb in New York City was I just miss the stars so much at night. And when it's a new moon and you can look up and you just see the Milky Way, it's like, wow, it feels like home. Got here just the right time of year to see the creosote bush bloom. These are the yellow flowers. If you just rub the leaves gently and you smell it, it smells like a rainy day. It's really great. That smell right there, it's pleasant to us, but what it does is it discourages animals eating it. The roots go very, very, very deep. So you won't see much of this in some of the rocky outcrops on the mountains because the roots can't get down that far, but in these alluvial, these wide open valleys that have a lot of sand and gravel, the roots can penetrate way down.
And that's where it pulls water.
Yeah, that's where it pulls water.
Oh.
Yeah, and that's why it's still kind of a bright green. We'll go up here and I'll show you where you can see how the plants are shaping the geology here, shaping the shape of the landscape. These grasses right here, the wind velocity or the wind speed drops, and then the sand gets collected. Just like if you go behind a row of trees where in a windy day, the wind velocity drops and things will just kind of settle to the ground. 25,000 years ago, we had a much different climate zone here. That's when we had major glaciers in the Sierra Nevada and the high peaks of Nevada. So that probably was a lot more moisture here, and the sand might have been wetter, and it was easier for vegetation to gain a root hold in a different climate.
There are rare plant species and threatened habitat at Kelso Dunes, so hikers are welcome, but leave your dune buggies at home. No motorized vehicles allowed here.
One of the big hazards out here, this is one of the more, we have more people get in trouble out here because it looks like a really short distance from the trailhead. And it can take over 3 hours for some folks to get from the card up to the top and back. And it's hard hiking because you're going through really soft sand, and the steeper it gets, the harder it is. It feels like you're running a marathon when you're trying to climb up some of these steeper sand slips here.
So you need to also know your limit and that you're in shape that you can handle a climb like that.
Yeah, heat illness is this is probably the worst spot for heat illness in the whole preserve is right here. This is one of the really cool mounds that are or traps of sand with vegetation here. And on here, there's all these different tracks and ripple marks.
So what is making this little pattern here?
So it's a combination. There's real narrow one here, a wider one. A lot of those are beetles and different types of insects that are out here that maybe come out at night when you can't see them as easily. And If there's any of them here, I don't quite see them on here, but if you see one with a big kind of line through the center of it, that'd be one of the reptiles, probably a lizard.
Got a tail that's dragging that line.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, these mostly look like insect marks here.
Yeah, they look like tiny footprints. You get a record of who was here last night.
Yeah. If you're an entomologist and you kind of really have a good idea of tracks versus species, you can get more of a census of who's out here at Mojave National Preserve.
Time for us to make tracks, as Sierra wants to show us another natural attraction at the preserve, so we retrace our steps and drive north past this notable building, the Kelso Depot, which serves as one of the preserve's visitor centers.
From the depot, it's about 30 miles north on Keller Baker Road, where Sierra pulls us over to introduce a whole new landscape.
Right here on North Kelbaker Road is one of the best spots to view the SEMA volcanic field. This right here is about 40 different volcanic cones, and they're all basaltic. They're all cinder cones and basaltic lava flows. And this is a very young feature in the preserve. So some of the rocks are millions of years old. These are just like a few million to a couple thousand years old, depending on where you are.
Wow.
So we went from white dunes to black cones.
Yes, so the white dunes are mostly from granite. They have a lot of light-colored minerals, that just obviously been, chewed up by wind and erosion and that sort of thing. And these have more darker minerals. The material came from, deeper in the crust and the upper mantle. That's how you get like in Hawaii. It's the same type of volcanic material you find in Hawaii.
We head north and drive almost 5 miles on a dirt road that definitely requires good tires and high clearance for safety. It takes us to this trail.
It's an easy 0.2 of a mile hike to reach our destination.
All right, I recommend going down, backwards like this, holding on both hands. The reason we can get into the tube right here is because this part of it collapsed. The ceiling collapsed and made all these blocks that were on here. Watch your step. It's kind of a little bit rough terrain here over all these basalt blocks.
I thought the outside of this lava tube was pretty interesting already, but then we went inside.
Wow.
How cool is this?
Cool is this?
Display of light, incredible.
Whoa, man.
That is incredible.
Yeah. Look at that puff of dust you just made there, Dave.
That's the coolest puff of dust I've ever made.
Yeah.
So that is that skylight that we
Yeah, it's a
walked by.
skylight, and it's like where lava kind of broke through the surface and poured out, and now it's a skylight just highlights some of the dust that comes through here. This has all been washed over here for several thousands of years, this floor, and it doesn't take much to stir up just enough so that when the sunlight comes through, it illuminates. We're basically in a basalt lava flow right here, and so the outer parts of the lava flow solidify, but the inside is insulated, so it continues to flow. And in some basalt lava flows, the inside will keep flowing as the outside stops. And it forms these tube structures like we're in here. If the source area stops erupting, gravity will still evacuate all the lava flow, the molten lava out, and it leaves behind, a tube like this. What is special about this one is it has these 3 skylights and this light effect here that people really enjoy seeing. It's best to come in the middle of the day when the sun angle's higher. Obviously when the sun angle is like really low, or like early in the morning, late in the evening, it's not going to hit the bottom, bottom of the tube here.
I hope nobody discovered this by falling through one of those. We came in a hole that no one would accidentally fall into because it's so big.
Yeah.
But I could see accidentally falling through one of these guys on
Yeah,
a little
yeah.
hike, it's beautiful out, and then, oh, whoops. Yesterday we were in a place that was a sacred location, right?
Yes.
I can imagine people coming in here 1,000 years ago, seeing this and thinking, this is touched, this place is special. We've never been to this park before, and I've seen 2 places I'll never forget.
Well, it's my first lava tube, so I'm definitely a fan.
Yeah.
It's very
We're
cool.
lava tubers now.
Yeah.
And it's such a small part of the entire area.
Right, yeah, you better scratch the surface, and you need a good 4-wheel drive with good tires to see the entire preserve.
And probably More days than one.
Yeah, that's true. Any national park,
Yeah.
more days than one, yeah, but definitely this one as well.
Well, thank you for this one day.
The park has one more surprise for us. As we drove out, we spotted this desert tortoise.
We kept our distance, of course, and we were reminded to take it easy on the road and observe the park slogan, "Drive like a tortoise."